G'day viewers, welcome to another super cool, super helpful repair video from the Goat Shed, located in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. Now if you don't know where that is, Google it and have a look at our town. Right on the coast. We've even done a video on this is where we live on one of our videos from about 2 years ago. So have a look at that. Okay, today is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. It's 17 degrees Celsius outside, which equates to 62.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to be a warm day, so it's going to get up into the mid-70s today. Now, today we're going to be talking about the fabled Gottlieb ASFS relay. Or maybe I should say the infamous relay. This particular little beast is a tricky little fellow and certainly bamboozles a lot of people and can give you a lot of trouble. But before we do that, we've got our apprentice Kyle here who's going to be doing this. So this is part of our one-on-one training series. We'd just like to remind you to please consider subscribing to our channel. Now, we're trying to do more videos. We mentioned the other day we were a bit slack. We'd been busy. That happens. By subscribing, you're going to be informed of when our next video appears. And you're going to be one of the first to be able to view that. We don't know how long these videos will remain on YouTube. They could take them off. Who knows? So that's a good consideration. Spanky would greatly appreciate your support. The other thing we'd like to mention, we mentioned where we are. If anyone is ever travelling, and whether you're from the other side of the world, you're always welcome at the Goat Shed. So if you're having a vacation and you're coming to the state of New South Wales in Australia, look us up. We're the 7th largest city in Australia, and we've got a lot to offer. Vineyards, the Blue Water Wonderland, and we're right on the coast. Alright, enough of that. Let's get into this video. Now, here it is, the old relay itself. Here we've got... So what we're going to do today, we're going to pull this apart, service it, and show you exactly how to do that. First of all, what we need to do, we need to have a little closer look at that, and we'll bring that in there. And what we're going to do is remove these two screws here, and we're going to clean this plate. So Kyle will start removing those screws while I show you one of those plates out of a machine which had been damaged. Now, this is pretty bizarre. Here you go. Look at that one. See all that? See, the tracks are absolutely... they've had it. Now, this particular one came out of a Gottlieb Four Seasons, and when we were operating it, we noticed a bit of smoke coming out of the, well, not a bit of smoke, a lot of smoke coming out of here. And, of course, that was the problem. Now, sometimes you'll also get carbon tracking in here, in there. And you've got to get a knife, a Stanley knife, and just get rid of it. It's the only insulation between the tracks, that's what it is. Okay, now you can buy these off the Pinball Resource. And once you do, if you do, you've got a left and a right. Now this one here is part number, let's have a look, 8934, B8934, and oops, I've probably got the pliers on that, have I? There it is there. And there's a left and a right. I think the other side's 8935. Alright, now let's see. All right, he's got that off now. That's fine. What he's got to do now, he's got to pull that out of there. That comes out of there, mate. You've got to get your fingernails, yeah. Bit tight. He got it. And what he's got there is, this gets dirty. See the dirt on that? And they also get bent. They're supposed to be straight. That one's not too bad. Alright, this is the wiper fingers. Now he's going to clean that up with his magical 3M cloth we showed you in our previous video. What we'll do, we'll clean that up, and you see, we call this like the butterfly on the back. There it is there. That fits into the groove of the teeth like this. This is the gear. Now have a look at this gear too. I want to show you this. These gears do wear out. Now I think you can even see that gear's had it. See, it dips in the centre? That's totally stuffed, that gear. So you do get that occasionally. You've got to look for any worn parts. I'm not 100% sure if you can buy that gear new off the Pinball Resource. We're very fortunate. We've got a lot of these old relays laying around, and we've got plenty of parts, but that's had it. But what I wanted to illustrate to you is this is how it fits in. Now that's the wiper, fits on there, and what you often get, I'm holding that with pliers, you get a lot of lateral movement, and what you've got to do when you put these back together, just take that off. We like to bend that down a bit, like so. We'll get that and we'll just bend that, and that opens up, that does twofold. It opens up the butterfly, not too much, just a bit. It opens up the butterfly and makes it tight, and sometimes you've even got to get a screwdriver down in that butterfly because they flop around in there. Okay, alright, so what he's done now, we'll just put that aside for a minute. Here's the Dremel. Do you want to just Dremel the contacts? He'll Dremel those contacts. Well, he'll make a bit of noise for a minute there. There he goes with the Dremel. Now I want to show you something on this. Okay, now we've got this off. This is the frame of the relay. Now, I normally only take one side off at a time, and this one also has switches involved with it. Now see that? It's not restoring by itself. So this has got real problems. I mean, when it won't do that, the other side's dirty, but you can see the pawl going in, and all the teeth on this one look pretty good. And also watch the switches going up and down there. That's called a 1:1 ratio. So switches are now closed, open, closed. Actually, that switch doesn't look like it's opening. So we'll have to adjust that. But that means for every operation it goes open, closed, etc. But this one's not doing that, or is it? Oh no, it is. Ooh, we'll have to have a close look at that. So here's the go. What happens is you have to bear in mind, part of the adjustment process of this is this bar here. That should be perpendicular to the frame when we put it back together. So in other words, I just get this here and I'll push that down, and that's perpendicular to the frame. That adjusts the throw, or how high the armature plate goes. So bearing in mind the coil here is pulling it in, and you only want it to go up so far. If it's too low or too high, you'll get underdrive or overdrive. So that's a critical adjustment on these. Alright, but what we're going to do now, we're just going to pop this spring off here, like that. Comes off. And yes, people, we'll end up probably cutting that spring, and we'll take the armature plate right out of the unit, and then we can see a little bit more. Now underneath here we have a check pull. That's a little bit of metal, and it sits, you can see how it sits in the gear. Right, now that's adjustable back and forth by 2 screws located just here. Thank you. There and there. It'll come back and forth. The idea of that is to check the travel of the gear. So when it drives, see you've got a little bit of movement there. You don't want it to drive backwards. So sometimes you've got to adjust that. Now sometimes people really get in and butcher those. And if they do, we change them. Once again, I can't sure if you can buy them, but this one looks pretty good to me, so no one's been at it. Alright, now, the other thing we do, see the armature plate, it's got a bit of an indentation in it. We'll get the Dremel and we'll fix that up in a minute, just to clean that up. They can stick on top of the coil and cause you problems. A little bit of rust on there, which we'll clean that up too. So I'll get Kyle to clean that with his Magic 3M cleaner, and then we'll hit it with the Dremel. So using this flapping tool on the Dremel, I think we buy those in a packet of about 50 off eBay. That will get rid of that indentation. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll show you how the results look. I think they'll be pretty pleasing. Alright, so there it is. He's given a bit of a polish, and we've put the Dremel on it, and it's now all nice and smooth, and that'll a lot better. Just put give it a polish with a bit of chrome polish on both sides, and away we go. Of course, those pawls do wear out. We haven't had one for a long time, and they're sprung loaded, so you've just got to make sure it springs back okay. There's just a fine little spring in there. So they're things to look out for. And that bit of brass there, that's to prevent magnetism where it hits, so that's what that's for. So okay, let's see what we're doing now, and we'll put this side back together. Alright, cleaned that gear up with a bit of isopropyl before we put it back in, and we've just adjusted the switch, and we'll just come in there. Haven't quite dropped. Now you can see it opening, open, closed, open, closed. That's that 1-on-1 ratio we're talking about. So that switch has all been cleaned and working good now. Alright, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to give this back to Kyle, and we're going to put this side back together. Alright, let's do it. So we've got that arm here a little bit straighter. We had to loosen the screw off the back there and straighten up and finger tighten it. Once this goes back together, that'll hold it in this side, and we've just got to watch when we put it back the other side. Alright, let's get the plate back on. So what we're going to do now, we're going to pull that down there. Look at that, lovely and clean. Alright, and we're going to have to put the butterfly in. So this is what I said, we've bent that a little bit. We'll just turn that pop that on there like that. Now when you put it on, make sure you push it right down and you get it on there. And then you got a little washer. This little washer here. But we're just going to clean that little washer first. It's a little bit dirty, so we'll clean that up. Lots of fun, isn't it? You can see where the washer sits. If you weren't sure, it doesn't go on the bottom, it goes on the top. Alright, so there's that washer back on. Now we've got to put this in. So I'm going to give that to Kyle because I'm not going to be able to do it while holding it up close to the camera. So let's just see how Kyle goes putting this in.
Oh yeah, just do it from when you're going to the road.
A little bit of noise there in the background. You just slide the armature plate in from the back end there, and the idea is you've got to get it, remember it had those cutaways, you've got to get them to sit in the cutaway there, and then put the spring on and fiddle around with it and it'll fall into place. I did that off camera because I couldn't hold it up in the air and do it at the same time, that's all. So the other thing we're going to do now is we're just going to do the repeat. We're going to take the other side off now. So that's this side, and then we'll show you what it looks like from that side and clean all this up. So we're just going to do the reverse. Then the only other thing we're going to do, very important, we're going to clean those Jones plugs. They're filthy, so we'll clean those up as well. Just cleaning those Jones plugs there with a little bit of paper. That's a slightly abrasive one. We just generally use that to get the main stuff off, and then he'll finish that off with the little 3M pad here, which has just been introduced to us. You've only got to do the outside of Jones plugs, people. That's the only point of contact. So there's the Jones plugs all nice and clean. You only need to clean the outside, people. You can see a bit of crot on the inside. It's the only place it makes contact. And there's the other side all done. Whoops, wrong way around, eh? Now there's that switch again. You can get a better look at it there, and we'll see the switch open. You can see it much clearer now. Closed. And notice when it closes it, there's a bit of upstroke on the top switch. So see how nice and smooth this is operating now?
Oh, okay, mate. Yep.
Okay. So that makes it a bit more obvious what means we're one in one. So closed, open, closed, when it rises on the riser, open, closed, 1:1 ratio. So it'll say 1:1 on the schematic. Okay, so that's working quite nicely. So now we're just going to put the board back on the other side, and we've tightened these screws up. Always tighten all your screws up, like there's 1, 2 here. Make sure they're all tight. Ones on the switches, they're all tight. And we'll put it back together. Okay, so there's the other side completed. And we've just put a dab of PBR grease. That's a dielectric grease that they sell on the contact surface on both sides of the plate. We'll pick it up and hopefully we should have a nice operating. Look at that. Remember, that wasn't going round before, it was sticking. And beautiful. We've got the switch opening and closing. We've cleaned the Jones plugs. Now, one thing that I think people should remember about these. These are built for each game. Now, when I say that, that's just got a little bit of movement in there. See that little bit of movement? That's not too bad. As long as it's landing on the... There, it's on number 5. That's okay. That's good. You'd have to take that off again and spread that butterfly that I was talking about a little bit more. But if it was really bad, it could light up 2 match numbers or match on either side. Remember, one side's for the match number and the other side's for the to light the match number, I beg your pardon, and the other side is to complete the circuit to the score rule, the 10-point score rule or the 1-point score rule, whatever it'd be. Most likely this one, a 10-point score rule. Now, one other thing about these things, people ask,
Can you sell this on eBay?
sometimes people find games without that unit because they're modular. You can take them out, which is good. I mean, Gottlieb probably realised these were going to require more frequent servicing. You can't just buy... This game is a pro football. You can't, for argument's sake, put one out of a jumping jack or a kingpin and put it in and expect it to work. The wiring would be different. The mechanisms are the same, but the wiring's different. So you'd have to wire it according to the Jones plug, the female side of the Jones plug. So you can do it. We've actually made one up once or twice for a few machines. It's a big job. You've got to fiddle fart round and that, but if you buy these new off PBR, the circuit boards, they don't have the contact lugs on. You've got to buy them separately. So you can either solder them direct without the lug or buy the lugs. And just remember that. And that tells you on the website when you go there. Okay. Well, that's great. That's all completed. Once again, thanks very much for watching our video. We hope that our instructional videos give you the knowledge to repair your own machines. We look forward to any comments that you may have or questions regarding this repair. But overall, this is the norm, and we recommend that any game you have that has either 1 or 2 FS relays, this one has another one under the playfield, this pro football, for the spinner, the football, the 10 yards or 50 yards or whatever, I think it's 10 yards, to control those. So he's going to have to do all that as well. So yeah, that's about it. Well, there you go. Kyle's proud of the work he did. And rightly so. He's doing well for a first-year apprentice. Still a fair way to go there, mate.
Yeah,
what did you think of the ASFS relay, working on that?
I enjoyed that one.
Very, very well. Okay, then.
Yep.
All right, viewers, once again, thanks so much for watching. We do greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to consider giving us a super thanks. Give us a little bit of money towards our quest to help us buy parts and things like that. Anyway, that's entirely up to yourself. But this has been another Goat Shed presentation.